Hey guys, it's Drew Dillon from Project Lift, and in this video, we're talking about how to start weightlifting from another sport, specifically when you already have a strong foundation of strength. And we're going to point out three things here. The movement dictates the load. We're going to talk about positions building strength, and we're going to wrap up with breaking away from the barbell. So guys, if you find this helpful, give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend, pay it forward, and be sure to subscribe because there's more coming next week. All right, guys, so number one is the movement dictates the load. And what that means is you're coming into this sport really understanding each key position, where you should be in those key positions, how to move from one position to the next, how to move smoothly and crisply. Now, starting off, you need to do this with a barbell. You need to perfect this and let yourself work up to the point where that breaks. When you come into this sport with a big foundation of strength, you're going to be able to rip heavy weight off the ground, take it up for a ride. However, it may not look that great. And for some of you watching, I'm sure we've all seen it. If you've gone into any CrossFit gym, any weightlifting gym, really, you've seen someone moving where you kind of go, ooh, you know, that was a bit rough. Look at the individuals on the world stage. Those are some crisp, sharp movements. I know we've all seen some individuals move outside of the crisp, sharp pattern that we're talking about. So when you're coming to the sport, really understanding those positions, understanding how to move through them, and then allowing yourself to train to the point where that starts to break down. So if you could heave 100 kilos over your head, but to control and go through good movements, you could only do 60. That's where you are in this moment. And that's where you need to start to train at, so you can increase that threshold. It's very similar learning how to walk. We're learning a brand new movement pattern. So the nervous system's trying to figure out what's firing when, what muscles are involved, how that's going. And the load puts a stress on the nervous system where it wants to recruit muscles that don't work, that shouldn't be used in these proper positions that we're talking about. Now, if you hold to this, you're going to see gains very quickly and you're going to stay really safe. If you continue to push past that and just, keep heaving, best case scenario is you create a nice, big, juicy plateau for yourself where you just get stuck at a weight and you're just stuck there. Crickets. Who knows how long you'll be at that plateau. Worst case scenario is you get an injury. So guys, let the movement dictate the load. Let yourself train for the movement, no matter how light that is, no matter how far off from how much you can pick up is, and you will succeed in this sport at a much quicker pace. All right, guys, and number two is gaining strength from positions. And what this means is, I see athletes all the time, say they don't feel very strong overhead. And they're like, okay, well, what can I do? Can I do presses? Can I do, what can I do to get stronger overhead? Allowing yourself to go through the positions and be in the positions even at lighter loads. And why I keep emphasizing this lighter load is for athletes that come in strong, we always imagine we need to be at our limits to keep building strength. But here's the key, you're learning a brand new movement pattern. So if you can separate the thought of strength from how you see it now and put it truly in, I once termed this as positional strength. If you allow yourself to be in that position at lighter load, you will be able to endure and get stronger in that position with heavier load. That's the key point. I've worked with so many athletes that'll come in and say the above the knee position, it's brand new to them. When a position's brand new, we exhaust very quickly at lighter loads than say we were to just deadlift, right? Now, the second you tell an athlete, hey, you're weak in that position, it's like, oh, I can deadlift a lot more. We're not talking about the deadlift. We're not talking about your overall strength. We're talking about your strength in that key position. So allowing ourselves to go to positions at lighter loads enables to build strength in those positions, whether that's overhead, above the knee, below the knee, the start position, all of it. So let the positions help build strength. Remember, it comes off of what I said in that first one. Movement dictates the load. The positions. Let yourself build strength in the positions by being in the positions correctly and moving through them correctly. That will enable you to build the motor pattern to lift much bigger weight. All right, guys, and the third one is let the accessories break away from the barbell. And what I mean by that is when athletes come in who can generally pick up a lot of weight, squat a lot of weight, what they haven't done is put a lot of weight over their head. So if we look at that shoulder, there are 17 muscles controlling this shoulder blade. And if you really look at the complexity of the shoulder blade's floating, right? It's all muscle connected to it that provides it the rigidity and the stiffness that we want in certain positions. So how do we strengthen that? Why am I saying to go away from a barbell? If we have 17 muscles attached to something, there's a lot of range of motion that needs to be strengthened and moved through well. When we grab onto a barbell, that locks us into a range of motion that doesn't allow us to break out and move the shoulder as it could be. So what movements can you do? I love single arm movements to build this stuff up. So you look at dumbbells, you look at kettlebells, you look at presses from, high lunge, low lunge, rows. There's so many different things. We can get out bands, we can get out cables. There's so many ways to move the shoulder through and to start to gain strength around that whole complex. You add that in to the barbell work that you're working around positions, snatch balances, and why I keep going dynamic. Well, I keep going dynamic with the barbell is a lot of times we imagine our inability to do a snatch as our overhead strength, but it really comes down to our nervous system's ability to be able to transition from the hip to overhead. There are a lot of people who can overhead squat a whole lot more than they can snatch, and guess what? Doesn't do anything for their snatch because the kicker is they're having trouble in the transition. So utilizing the barbell to understand our positional transition points and then break away from the barbell, single arm, single leg, to build up the joints, the hips, the shoulders, the stability overall, you are going to stay healthy, you are going to lift more in the Olympic lifts than you ever had, and this sport's gonna be a whole lot more fun for you. So guys, if this has helped you, like I said, pay it forward. As I was talking about breaking away from those, the barbell, we do that all the time in our class Vital Strength, and we have a free week coming up next week for you to experience for yourselves. So I encourage you, sign up, come and try a class or two. They're live, you get live coaching, and feel the difference of breaking away from the barbell and to truly stabilize the shoulder, to truly stabilize those hips, so you can put more power in the barbell and ultimately lift more weight with less pain. So until next week, guys, good luck.